Adding and subtracting fractions. If you were able to divide fractions, you're going to be able to add and subtract them. It's way easier. The only thing is you have to make sure you have common denominators before you add or subtract fractions. Remember, a denominator is like a unit. It's telling us how big each piece is. So we couldn't add 3 inches and 5 centimeters and say we have 8 centimeters or 8 inches. We need to get them into the same unit before we can add them together. So that's what we're going to do. If we have the same denominator, 3/5 and 1/5, we can just add. We don't have to worry about anything else. I had 3 whatevers, unicorns plus 1 unicorn. I have 4 unicorns. Don't change the denominator. Remember, it's just my unit. So 3/5 plus 1/5, how many fifths do I have? I have 4 fifths. 4 sevenths plus another 4 sevenths gives me how many sevenths? Gives me 8 sevenths. This is a lovely answer for me. I love improper fractions. Some people prefer a mixed number. That's okay too. If you remember how to convert between mixed numbers and improper fractions, it's going to help you a lot. When our denominators are not the same, we need to change them into common denominators. Sometimes we only need to change one, sometimes we need to change both of them. In this case, I can see how I can turn that 2 into an 8 by multiplying by 4. So we're using those equivalent fractions now. So 1/2 turns into 4/8. And now I can say 3/8 plus 4/8 is 7/8. 3/10 plus 1/2. I could turn a half into tenths if I multiply it by 5 on the top and the bottom. So I have 3/10 plus, that turned into 5/10. When I add those together, I have 8/10. This answer is technically correct, but it's not in reduced form. So let's reduce it by dividing by 2 on the top and the bottom to get 4/5. 4/5 we can't reduce any farther, so we're great. We can leave that one. Now, when you can't see a nice way to get a common denominator, like turning a 2 into an 8, we're going to look for the lowest common multiple of these two denominators. So I've got 5 and 7, and I'm going to look for my lowest common multiple of these. And when I find it, I'm going to convert both of these fractions into fractions that have that number as a denominator. So I can see that my lowest common multiple, the number that's on both lists, is 35. So I'm going to take 5 and multiply it by 7 to make 35. And I'm going to multiply 7 by 5 to make 35. I'm not done. If I multiply by 7 on the bottom, I absolutely must multiply by 7 on the top. And I absolutely must multiply by 5 on the top. Otherwise, I'm changing the value of these fractions, right? I want to multiply by my invisible 1. 7 over 7 is the same as 1. So I'm not changing the value if I'm multiplying by 1. 7 times 2 is 14, so we've got 14 35ths and 25 35ths. Adding them up, I've got 39 35ths, or if you must, 1 and 4 35ths. Subtracting, you're going to use the exact same rules that you used for adding. You are just going to make sure you have a common denominator, and then you're going to subtract. Remember, subtracting is just adding the inverse. So on this one, I'm going to multiply by 2 over 2 to make sure that 9 turns into an 18. I've got 5/18, and now I'm taking away 4/18. So 5 unicorns, take away 4 unicorns. I have 1 unicorn. My denominator does not change. If I don't have a nice one, we're going to look for my lowest common multiple. Here, that's 6. You could use a bigger one, though. Like, you could turn these both into 12 or 24 if you really wanted to, but it's just, extra simplifying work for you later. So I'm going to turn these both into sixths. So I've got 3/6 minus 4/6. And 3 take away 4 leaves me with -1/6. Denominator still does not change.